Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. With the Prestige Cup coming up tomorrow, I am here with this season's Prestige Cup car, the Jaguar, or Jaguar as US people would call it, XCSV Project 8. I'm just going to refer to it as the Project 8 to save myself the embarrassment of trying to pronounce the J word. So what it says is we're going to go ahead and go through the stage 6 effects of this car. What I'm going to tell you about this car up front is that this car is a jack of no trades and master of none. Meaning it's not good at anything really. Okay? Normally, if a car doesn't do good in one thing, it'll do good in something else. This car is kind of in everything. Now we'll see as we go through the car. Some people may like it. I certainly like the way it looks. I like that little livery on the side, but from a performance standpoint, in Tier 4 as one of the in-game cars, there's not a whole lot to be excited about here. Alright, so we're going to start off first with Stage 5 only. Please note I have full fusion. Understand that if you're missing fusions, your car will tune differently, will run slower, and will be completely different than what I'm showing. That is true of every car with and without fusions. Fusions can make up to a 2 seconds performance difference in a car depending on how many you're missing. Dyno says 13027 on this setup. This car tend to prefer to top out rather than having much lower final drive with a much higher tire setting. It doesn't seem to really help it that much. As you can see, the evo points are not really getting better. So where it seems to do the best, again, is on a low top speed kind of final setting where it'll hit the top speed relatively quickly, but at least it will give you some of the best possible times. Let me try to get back to that 13027 I was looking at earlier. 024. Oh, okay, 024, even better. So I beat my other tune by a few thousandths. All right, so let's run this setting. And let's take a look at the results to kind of see what this car's strengths and weaknesses are. Now, I haven't figured out the exact shift pattern for this car that would be optimal. Working off of the world record shift pattern, it seems this car needs to get out of first right away, possibly second right away at this point because of the high final drive, and you're not going to use nitrous at least until third or fourth. So I'm going to go ahead and do exactly that. I'm going to get first, second, third. Actually, I used nitrous fifth that time. You probably want to use nitrous in fourth. Fifth probably won't help, but with such a short duration nitrous right now, I think third, fourth, or fifth, the effects will be marginal overall. But it looks like fifth actually did all right there. Let's see. 13045, very close to where the dyno is. A little bit slower. But look at this. All right. First of all, speed trap's not its strong point, obviously. Sprint is not bad, but it's not super awesome either. Now, this is actually a decent sprint for a Tier 4 car, but I can tell you, generally speaking, any Tier 4 car will probably get at least this level of sprint. So it's not a particularly super fast Tier 4 sprinter, and it's not obviously a top speed car, and it doesn't beat dyno, and it's not that easy to drive either. So all in all, so far, it hasn't shown a whole lot of great qualities. All right, let's look at Stage 6 effects. Now, first Stage 6 we're going to go to, as always, is engine. We're going to start with engine. Now, interestingly, engine seems to give a big jump in the performance, both in the fact that performance point went up, but more importantly because there's a nice jump in evo points. And that's even pre-tuning. Obviously, if you tune it, you might be able to get some more out of this. And with the engine, I should be able to lower the final drive, get higher top speed, and still maintain performance. Look at that jump. And it just keeps on going. Look at this. Now we're almost 300 evo over where it started. And this is very important because this means that this car has potential with just this one Stage 6 to drop substantial amount of time off of its performance. Looks like 13 is 15, 16, 17. Look at that. It just keeps on giving more increases that I'm not expecting here. And this is very important because if it can give us enough performance, wow, look at that. From a 13.0, okay, to a 11.9. A full second drop in a tier 4 car with one stage 6. Now, I have a feeling, okay, and this is a not that super fast a car. I believe this thing ultimately ends up around 10.5, 10.6. So if it's a 10.5 car and you just went from 13 to 11.9 with one stage 6, this is probably a top stage 6. Now with the final drive tweaked, I used Nitrous in 4th that time. My initial shifts are pretty sloppy, so I'm not expecting the best results here. But let's at least see if it can hit near dyno, if not dyno. So engine, right off the bat, bam, big stage 6. And it beat the 1.422 on the 0 to 60 with a 1.39, I think, is what I saw there. Again, pretty impressive, but that's not very impressive. At least we got a huge stage 6 right off the bat. Let's see if another one turns out like this, but this is good and bad, right? If the engine is so good, that means everything else may not be as good. And if you're missing engine, you're losing out on a full second worth of time. That brings you right down from the fully max 10.5 right to 11.5, which is bad. Okay, now let's move engine out of the way. Let's start looking at the others. I doubt these two are even going to come close to what engine can do, but it's a good start to at least take a look. All right, so this does have a little bit of gain from stage 5 only numbers, which means it'll do something. It just won't be as effective and as big a deal as engine was. Okay, I'm not going to tweak Nitrous. I'm sure there might be some points left in that if I really fine tune it. But right now, let's focus on getting the best evo we can out of turbo without playing with Nitrous. Now look at using the final drive. As you can see, now I'm lowering the final top speed again, but with the increase you are getting a decent jump in evo points. So here we go. Let's see if I can get 61, 60, 59. All right, let's see if slightly, nope. Okay, so let's go with this one, 12.538 from a 13.0. So that's not bad, actually, if you think about it. 13 to 12.5, it's still a decent half a second drop. If this is the trend, that's very interesting. That means, you know, you can get a nice jump in performance with even turbo, which generally comes in pretty low. So 11.9, 12.5, let's see what intake does. If everything else stays near the half a second mark, then that's also a good thing, but I kind of doubt it. If the first 3 we test goes in and drops off a whole 2 seconds, you're not going to have a whole lot to play with later on. All right, this one's 12.5 as well, right off the bat. So the main question here is, can I get few more points out of it to the point where it can really beat turbo? And well, that's pretty close. Now we'll go back and compare turbo and intake, but they're basically on par with each other, both right near 12.5, not quite 12.5 and under, but very decent amount of drop in time, but essentially half a second. So turbo intake not completely useless on this car. All right, so now we're moving to Nitrous. Nitrous can be important most of the time for anything that involves top speed. But whether it's going to cut a lot of time off with this car is going to be questionable, because you're using it pretty late because it doesn't seem to need it initially. Now, again, short, hard bursts of Nitrous may or may not help here. Let's see, it's going up now. So it looks like 5.6, 5.5, 5.6. Okay, with more Nitrous, I should be able to move the final drive a little bit to still push for a higher top speed. but there isn't a whole lot there. And notice the evo points are not that great. It's actually kind of on the low side. Maybe a little bit less grip will be helpful here. Looks like it does help somewhat. I thought I saw A93 earlier. That might be like a 15, 16, 17. Now, all right, let's stick with this A92 for now. I don't know why I couldn't get back to the A93. That's a 12.8. That is so far the smallest drop out of them all. The only question here is whether nitrous is important for getting, say, a much higher top speed. We're looking at 176 with the highest evo tune, but what if I lower the tire a bit? I give it, say, a 200 plus. As you can see, the theoretical is going up pretty decent, 197. But remember, with engine, it was well over 200 for mile per hour. But here with nitrous, at least, the extra final drive is looking like it's going to show more and more top speed. The only problem for us is, of course, we're dealing with quarter mile in PC Cup sprints. Speed traps rather than half mile. So half mile is looking great. Quarter mile is still improving as well. But is it going to be much higher than 180? Probably not. But it might be worth it to run it with nitrous now just to see if we can push it beyond the 183 in the quarter mile. Again, PC Cup, most of the new event cups, the speed traps are not half miles, they're quarter mile, unlike Tempest, which is a half mile speed trap. Okay, so we want to accelerate quick and get a, that didn't work well. So with low final drive, I am looking at much lower speed accelerating, so that was pretty bad. So now I got to fix myself and do this a little differently. So 177 isn't that great. Understand that it was dyno 183, so let's do one more run. Then we'll move on to the next stage 6. I don't want to waste too much time in the middle of the video talking about something that could be discussed later in the video. Okay, but again, speed trap will be important for many players as one of the challenges in the middle of the PC Cup. So let's go through it anyway and try to get this done. All right, so I'm pushing here, but I'm not getting over 183 yet. And I didn't run out of nitrous, so it's not an issue of the nitrous running out. One possibility is actually do this, run a harder, shorter burst of nitrous to push it over. We'll do that later when we go to combinations. Actually, this one, I'm going to go ahead and put this back to 5.6. And let's go look at the next stage 6. So again, nitrous tend to be important for speed traps for many cars, but it's not a guarantee that it is the biggest and best. In this case, I think engine still would beat it as the sole stage 6 even for mile per hour. All right, here we go. Body, nice increase there. This will need some tuning, but so far the numbers don't look optimistic. This is different than most tier 5 cars where body tend to be big. This one, nitrous so far, is worse than turbo and intake. And body seems like it's as well. But then again, I do have the final drive really set up differently. Oh, I need to also do this. Oh, this is not looking that great. So even though I did tweak it quite a bit. Oh, wait a minute. Interesting. So body changes the top speed of the car quite a bit. Now, even though it's 197, this isn't that much faster than, say, when we use nitrous with lower grip. But from a pure point standpoint, body is an improvement in top speed generally. So it looks like it's good for top speed, not good for time. 12.927 is very bad, considering that the stage 5 only was a 13.02, 023, I believe. So that's really bad. Okay, So body, while it may look good for top speed to some degree, looks like it doesn't do much for the time. And it probably changes the shift pattern too, because when you run a lower final drive, you're not going to get out of each gear as fast as I was doing when I had stage 5 only. So keep in mind, this is right now very marginal on effect. Nitrous being a little bit better isn't great either. So really surprising what we have so far is that engine's top and both turbo and intake are actually quite important, combined being almost a full second as well. Whereas these, oh my god. Wait a minute, I think that's just as bad if not worse than, oh wait, I need to tweak it. Okay, I think that was just as bad as stage 5 only, on time at least. Okay, so I'm squeezing out a little bit here. Okay, so we finally got under 13, and you know, it might be too much grip because of the extra tire, but this is not looking like it's going to be a huge stage 6 here. So this is just as bad as body. Okay, they're actually competing for who's worse. I think this is slightly worse than body though, but nitrous, body, and tire so far, the three of them probably would only drop you less than what turbo drops you, which is kind of scary. So unlike normal T5 cars, we actually don't look forward to getting these. All right, transmission, don't fail me now. Give me something good here. 644. Oh, that looks good. That's a nice jump. So transmission may be at least as good as turbo, I hope. Okay, I've been unpleasantly surprised just as often too. Okay, so let's move this around a little bit. If you notice, at stage 5 only, the final drive was up here, right? With the tires set at 18. Now with just transmission and just turbo intake, not turbo, but nitrous body, it goes to a whole different place, and it's a lot better. 12.6 is actually better than nitrous. So transmission is not bad. However, transmission is not good. Obviously, it looks like with the Max Evo tune for a sprint, and that's worse than stage 5 only. Top speed is marginally better, but again, not great. So these stage 6s all have individualized impacts on where the final drive lands and possibly how the car drives, as well as actually sometimes make things worse, which is not a good thing. So our order here, without reviewing the actual final numbers, we know that engine's top, okay, turbo intake is interchangeable almost, and then you have transmission kind of falling in between turbo intake and nitrous, which is only so-so. And finally, body and tires struggling for the bottom two. So that's going to be our order. I'm going to give you the final order, which will give you the most accurate based on dyno, at least when I tested in this video, of the order of the stage 6s. But again, some of these are so close, it's almost interchangeable. Now, let's look at combinations. Let's put the big boys in. Okay, this one's big. Let's take this one out. And let's put turbo intake, because these three are the top stage 6s for this car. Interestingly, almost exact opposite of most tier 5 cars we've tested for stage 6 effects. However, there are other tier 4 cars that seems to really favor these as well. Look at that. Some nice changes here, except that is not faster. That could be a tune issue, but 12.1 is not quite what I was expecting. But let's see if I can't make this a lot better, and I can. But notice that, yet again, the final drive, actually with these three, prefers a lower top speed, but gets you much further up. So remember, engine by itself was 11.9. Turbo by itself was worth about half a second. So these guys all combined should be better than 11.6, which is a little disappointing actually. I was hoping for almost like a low 11s with just these three. because individually they're pretty effective. All right, so 11.589 with these three. Let me go ahead and take one of the two out. Let's take either intake or turbo out and see if how close we go back right to the 11.9 that engine by itself can do, because it seems almost like you're not getting the full effects of each one individually. Three combined actually slightly slower than what you would think each individual effects would give you. But nonetheless, 11.7. Okay, so the combination definitely does a little bit worse than their individual pieces might have implied. Okay, 11.709. Now, those are the top two, right? That's just top two, turbo and engine. Let's go ahead and put in the rest. First 4 and then 5, and let's compare notes. So turbo engine gives you 11.7. What about these 4? Now, with these 4 in, I suspect the tune is going to require a little bit lower on the final drive side. You'll look at some different numbers, but I'm not sure it's going to be that great in overall performance. 12.1 right now, okay, with these 4, and there are definitely some tuning possibilities here still. We haven't tuned it. Notice again, it seems to like it when I go for a little bit less of a final drive with this these kind of parts, I should say, rather than the higher final drive with the other parts. 11.9. So all 4 of them beats engine by a little bit, which isn't bad. But that also tells you how strong engine is. 11.882 beats engine by about 1/10. On the other hand, think about that's engine by itself. This is 4 additional stage 6s, which means if you put intake in as well or turbo, you may still end up with a decent 11.5 or so number, versus engine intake and turbo by itself also is 11.5. So 5 will do the same work as 3, although the 3 sometimes these 2 combined doesn't seem to do as much as I had hoped. But that's your combination right now. Let's take a look at this one with intake installed, whether it's going to get under 11.5 here. No, doesn't look like it. So it's kind of a strange thing with these combos that you would expect a lot more here. Notice there are almost like 2 points of tuning here. I was able to get this number here at 4.4, which isn't that impressive either. Or you can go all the way down this way and still get about a 691, 688 is what I had before, which again is nice, but doesn't quite match the 3 from before. So that's your combinations with the weaker and stronger. So what this really tells us is that in the end, engine is going to make or break most people's Prestige Cup, right? If you have engine and you have fusions, you might be fine just with engine alone. Or if Natural Motion decided that because this is a former milestone car, we got to make it a little tougher and put it at like 11.6 or 11.5, full fusion, you're going to struggle with like 4 or 5 stage 6s. I really don't think they should make it that hard. It makes sense that, you know, you may need at least 2 or 3 stage 6s, but it should also make sense that you shouldn't have to have absolute full fusion and full stage 6s to beat a Prestige Cup. That's just silly. So I would say my ballpark number on an easier Prestige Cup would be somewhere around, let's say, 11.9, 12.1. A tougher Prestige Cup may go as low as 11.4. Obviously, fully maxed, the car is capable of I believe 10.5. So let's go ahead and put that together and take a look. And that'll be our final test on this car. Now, all that being said, obviously, with this car, 260 mile per hour is just not likely to happen easily. Sprint side, fully maxed even, at least the initial sprint, you're not talking about instant 1.3 sprints. In fact, we only saw 1.3 earlier with the 0 to 60 sprint because of one specific stage 6. Although I may be able to squeeze it out here. Here we go, 1.1. All right, fully maxed, the sprints are pretty decent. That's a good sprint. But again, top speed is probably not as optimal. Again, it really kind of hard to get the perfect number here. I think it is better than this. It should be able to do like a 10.5, I believe. Okay. All right, so here we go, 10.6. Let's see if I can't squeeze out a few more. 10.627. All right, close enough, 10.6. Let's give it a run, half mile. So 10.6, right? 13.0 to 10.6. Now 10.6 is fully maxed. So 11.6, 11.5, 11.8 makes sense as a more reasonable PC cup time. Okay, let's go ahead and run this. I'm not sure I got that on time. It felt a little late. So I don't think this is going to be a 10.6 run. Probably like a 10.7 run because I definitely was late on one shift. Oh, how about that? 10.629. I'll take it. Right, 240. Oh, so fully maxed. Here we go. This and this both can meet tempest requirements. Aha. 260 is right there. And there it is. All right. But understand, this is fully maxed. Now, can you push it to this without all stage 6s? Maybe. I'm not going to get into that because we now have so many good options for Tempest 3 Tier 4 cars that can do everything. This certainly is another one that obviously can hit all challenges because you can tell that with the right tune, this is possible to get under 1.3, and that's possible to get over 260. But what about pre-maxed out settings? Probably not going to be that easy. So I'll look into it at some point if people really ask about it. But my suggestion still is use something else. I don't think this car is just going to be an easy one to set up at lower performance point levels to get through all the challenges. All right. So again, this car is kind of capable of doing things once it's fully maxed to a point, but again, not very strong overall a car for both live or map racing. So my ultimate conclusion for this car is that it's nice looking and it's got a cool name, but the Project 8 is not an outstanding car as far as I'm concerned within the CSR2 options. Now, if you obviously have partial builds in other places, you may find a dyno beating tune by accident, partly because the car's not fully built, but generally speaking, this is not a super strong car as far as, you know, live racing is concerned. Okay, well that gets us kind of to the conclusion here of the Project 8 Stage 6 effects. If you have any questions about this car's Stage 6 effects, feel free to hit me up. If you have your own observations or something you found that I completely missed in my discussion, please feel free to post in the comments and let everybody know so we can all learn from that knowledge. If you like the video, please leave a like. And if you like my channel and would like to get notifications when I put up new videos, then please subscribe so you can get the notifications. As always, thank you for watching my videos. I'll catch you next time.